Hi there, everyone. If you're here for the 7 steps to a better practice, then you are in the right place. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. We've got plenty of people still signing in, so now's a great time. If you need to send off any last-minute emails or run to the bathroom or get a drink of water, now's the best time to do that. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Hi there, I see a lot of new people just signing in. Welcome. Again, if you're here for the 7 steps to grow your practice, then you're in the right place. We'll get started here in just a few more seconds. Now's a great time to get the desk cleared off, close the door. We got a lot of great information coming your way, so hang tight and we'll start in about 30 seconds. Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and get going. Thanks again for joining me here today. We've got a great presentation for you on how to grow your practice. This is especially vital for practices struggling. Things like dental insurance challenges, hiring new employees, corporate dentistry expansion, as well as competitors getting more aggressive in their marketing efforts. The good news, though, it takes 7 key strategies to get a better handle on your business. We'll go through each one of those in detail in this presentation. I want to thank everybody for joining me here. A couple of webinar logistics before we get started. One, if you have any questions, please be sure to chat those in. You'll see the chat box on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Feel free to chat any of your questions in along the way. The other thing is I'm recording the presentation, so I'll send out a replay with it afterwards. So there's no need to take intensive notes or anything like that. You'll have an opportunity to get the recording of the presentation later, and you can review it again and again if you need to. I'll be introducing my partner, Tom Mayer, in just a few minutes. But first, let's go ahead and get rolling. So, who's this presentation not for? First, unethical people. These are business strategies, not shortcuts or shady techniques. There's also other reasons, and you'll see as we move through the presentation. 2, people who expect a do-it-for-you system. Each practice will establish different goals and focus points through the journey. Although the steps of the foundation to fix the problems follow the same or similar process, each person will address a different pain point that's affecting their practice's process. Someone who has no time to build their business. Yes, this is not a set it and forget it type process. You need to spend at least an hour a week to go through the steps and address the sections. Keep in mind, there's a reason why someone who starts a corner store stays a corner store, and someone who starts a corner store and turns it into a Walmart. Proper time allocation is one of those reasons. Number 4, someone who accepts lower fees for your services. This program is not about lowering your fees and taking more insurance client on and churning and burning patients. It's actually the opposite. We want dentists to work smarter, not harder. Number 5, expect a magic fairy to fix your situation. Look, it isn't easy. It takes time, effort, and commitment, but the rewards are huge. We've seen incredible increases in the businesses we've implemented these processes in. Now, with all that said, I do want to say congratulations. Dentists and dental professionals were voted the #1 job to have by U.S. News and World Reports in the 2017 issue. They cited growing demand for the services, a comfortable salary, low unemployment rate, and an agreeable work-life balance boost dentists to the top position of our list of best jobs. This profession has been going on over 100 years strong. And I have even better news. Once you learn to execute the 7 steps in your practice, you will be able to grow your practice with less headaches and frustration. The reality is, growth is what it's all about. Growth creates opportunity. Growth creates jobs. It creates increased income for all of us. Growth is what we're after. Let's talk a little bit more about that after I introduce my partner. Several years back, I met Tom Mayer. Tom is an action coach and, in my mind, an incredible asset to any company. He has knowledge in many industries and has put millions of dollars to companies' bottom lines. Tom's accomplishments has been a business coach for over 15 years and helped grow hundreds of clients. Clients have been averaging about a 40% growth in profits year to year. featured on NYI News and a contributing author to the Working with the Wise. I couldn't ask for a better partner. Tom, please say hello.
Thanks, Paul, and welcome everybody. I'm really excited to be doing this call. Like Paul said, I help businesses increase profits, create systems to help you work more on your business, not just in the business, and put together and build an awesome team. Basically, help you build the business you always wanted to have. When Paul and I met, we instantly hit it off. Paul and his wife have a dental office in Fairfield, Connecticut. So he not only talks and consults clients, he lives dentistry 24/7. His passion for the industry is not only in marketing, but in the front and back office processes. He basically lives and breathes dentistry.
Thank you. Yes, I'm one of those sick individuals that while on vacation, we drag our family along to visit dental labs and go to dental seminars. So yeah, I love this industry. With all that said, I'd like to ask your permission if we could be your coaches for the next 30 minutes. Our goal is to reward your time investment and share some of the simplest, fastest, and easiest ways that some of the most profitable practices in Fortune 500 companies grow. We also want to offer an outstanding experience.
We are not going to hold anything back, so you can solve those little nagging problems with your business that tend to burn you out and you give up on. It's about doing the little things consistently that makes your business great. We're also going to give you strategies that can be used immediately, so you can have the business you always wanted to have and live the life you always wanted. Because your business should support your life, not be your life. Okay, before we continue, I want to make sure everyone is all on the same page.
For sure. This is not a magic cure. This is not a hack. This is not easy. It takes work, but it's not rocket science either. It takes focus, planning, and a process we call the 7 steps. In about an hour or 2 a week, using the 7 steps, you can grow your practice.
There was a study done not long ago that brought up some startling facts. Most businesses will never make it to $1 million. The economy is always going to be a challenge. You hear mixed reports all the time about what exactly is happening. I know that for the most part, the majority of practices that we talk to say they are still struggling, even years after the recession began. It has not been the easiest business environment for quite some time. Right now, the U.S. Census reports that 85% of businesses will fail in the first year. It's a really tough environment for businesses that are just getting started. Certainly, we hear that sentiment echoed in all small businesses that we work with and hear from. If you just focus on the 7 steps as we lay it out, and don't try to make growth any more complex than that, then I promise you that you will see more growth in the next year. It's no wonder the number one reason most entrepreneurs go out of business is burnout. Without a plan, you're just going around in circles. Of the businesses that go beyond 1 year, studies showed as many as 50% of those businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. Worst of all, most of those companies aren't profitable.
When we visit dental offices, we find the biggest strains on profitability and growth are insurance companies, bad hires, deal sites, bad marketing, debts, wage creep, overhead expenses, and lack of office training in profit areas. Believe it or not, most offices have the same issues. Maybe you could relate to some of these. Scheduling issues, holes in the schedule, not sure where the new patients are coming from, or sporadic new patients. Worried to leave the practice because you don't want the headaches of when you come back. Worried about making payroll. You take insurances to stay busy, but are making little to no profit on the patients, or don't even know how much profit you're making on the patients because of dental insurances. Worse, you work more hours to pay the bills and pay taxes, only to accumulate more bills and more taxes because you increased your income. This is some of what the 7 steps addresses.
Strategies aren't the only things that are going to make your business successful. Your proper mindset is also going to be a very important part, because the better you are, the better your business is going to be. So let's get started on a few critical parts of learning. Does anybody know out there someone says I know all the time? You look in a mirror, right? Everybody have kids, I know. When you say I know, you stop listening. And how many ideas does it take to make $1 million? It could just be one. So instead of just saying I know all the time, what I want you to do is say, isn't that interesting? And can I get you to commit for the time that you're on these webinars to not say I know and listen? Great. I know you all said yes. The second part is, hopefully you get out of these webinars is BFOs, and we call them blinding flashes of the obvious, which are things that you've done in the past that have worked, but now you're not doing them. So we want you to say, and send a message of if you do get a BFO, because I think we could share with everyone else. The next part is what we call the identity iceberg. Now, the tip of the iceberg is what we say is your actions and your behaviors, right? But that's only the tip. If you want to improve your actions and behaviors and your decisions, the first thing you might want to improve is your skills. For instance, how many people out there like to cook? Okay? How many people don't like to cook? So when people come over your house, to the people who do like to cook, you cook. For those people who don't like to cook, when people come over, what happens? You go out to eat, or you order out, right? So your skills need to improve if you want to change your actions and decisions. The next part is to change your skills is your beliefs. A lot of clients, they hate sales. They have a negative connotation to sales. But once they change your belief that sales is just educating your customers on how your services are going to help them, then it's changing. So there we change our beliefs, which will help you improve your skill levels on selling. So from there, your values affect your beliefs. And values we get that at home and from our families. So that could affect what your beliefs are. Now what affects all that is your identity. And this is the I am statement. You may have heard this before. You have to have a good, solid identity. Like, who do you want to become? You have to become that person first. And that is all affected by your environment. And again, we could go deep into each one of these, but I just want to touch base with these. So if you want to improve your actions and decisions, these are the things that can improve that. So the last part I want to address is what we call the formula for life success. And it's called be times do equals have. And a lot of people get this backwards. They say, when I become a millionaire, I'll start acting like one. Or when my business grows, then I'll start acting like a real business owner instead of doing everything myself. Well, it doesn't work that way. First of all, the have are your goals. So put your goals down, be specific as you can, and a time frame. Once you have them, you can put them in an envelope in your desk drawer. You can put them on your mirror. That's going to be the goals. But first, you have to become. Who do you have to become to be successful in that? And it may be if you're starting out in your business, you need to become a great marketer. So so the next part of that is if you have to become a great marketer, I am a great marketer. What are the things you're going to do to become that great marketer? So the first you have to be it. Then the part is what are the things you're going to have to do? And if it's marketing, for example, you may have to read books, how other dentists are doing it, how other businesses are doing it, go to seminars, listen to tapes, right? So they're the things you're going to have to do. So if you be that person and do the things it's going to take, you'll get the results.
And that plays right into what we were saying before. What kind of person grows a company to 1 million versus 5 million versus 10 million versus 100 million? They've mastered the concepts that we're talking about here. So let's think about your business. Is your business driving you, or are you driving the business? It's not good enough just to show up to work and expect results and growth.
That reminds me, most people only own a job, and job stands for just over broke.
Right. There's a lot of truth to that. I found coaching to be a lot like treatment planning patients. Hear what we say, understand it intellectually, agree with all the principles, know what's the right thing to do, but not do it. You want to know why?
A lot of times with coaching clients, we see that it's discipline and determination. They have the work in your business mentality, not on your business mentality. They get caught up in the day-to-day operations of the company instead of spending more time planning and budgeting and looking ahead. Well, what do you do to overcome that? That's the secret. Before we get into the 7 steps, I want to let you know how we define a successful business. Well, let's break it down. Successful, in a lot of people's minds, is accomplishing an aim or a purchase or the goals, having achieved popularity, profit, or distinction. A business is a commercial, profitable enterprise. So when you put these things together, a successful business definition is a profitable commercial operation that accomplishes its purpose without the owner having to work in the business.
Which leads us to why we're here. The 7 steps, practice growth system. When using the 7 steps, you will work less hours and make more money. You will be able to handle your office's KPIs, that's your key performance indicators. You and your staff will communicate better and work smoother.
Guesswork is taken out of the office as there's a clear system and process. You will attract more of the patients you want in your practice, and you will sleep better knowing the answers and actually want to wake up and go to work.
For the past 10 years, I've not only been growing my wife's dental practice, but I've also been consulting and coaching other dental offices as well. Not to tell you, I've had my share of shocking discoveries. Things like lack of perio protocols, offices not looking modern or up to date, not taking proper x-rays, like no full mouth series at all, poor coding of procedures, billing things all incorrectly, lack of systems and processes, the right people in the wrong positions, a lack of basic selling skills, dentists allowing insurances to dictate the fees, while the CEOs of these insurance companies are taking record salaries and bonuses, and no hiring culture at all in the office.
Which brings us to step one, foundational. Building the foundation of a business. Like building a house, it starts with the foundation. In the foundational step, we're getting the chaos under control. Knowing your numbers, tracking your marketing, setting your goals, time management, and consistent delivery and distribution.
We find that successful practices in Fortune 500 companies conquer these areas: business planning, communications, time, and money. It's no use going out and building a business if you have no idea where you're going. A major portion of early coaching is helping people define their direction. No use defining what you don't want. You must define what you want.
Right. We find that giving a person direction gives them the ability to run really fast. Clarity plus action leads to success. The alignment part of the coaching system is about where you are now in your business and where you want to go. Then you build an action plan, not just a business plan which sits in a drawer.
We want to see clear communications. Successful practices have meetings daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Morning, midday huddle meetings. It becomes part of the structure. Feedback meetings, not just bad or corrective, but good feedback too. A vision of the practice. Does the staff know what you stand for? Everyone needs to be on the same page.
As you will see, time management will be a critical part as we look to build the team and the owner's productivity. On top of that, you want to coach them on urgency and timeliness and focus on the timeliness of high priority tasks. Now, on the focusing on the numbers and the money. Not only do I need to know my historic numbers, but the ones that will create my future. Too many business owners have no ability to make a decision due to lack of information. If we want to manage something, we have to measure it. So, we turn to both historic numbers and future key performance indicators. A successful company's keys to money are budgeting, key performance indicators, KPIs, and reporting on a timely basis.
Step number 2, niche, creating predictable cash flow. There is no better way to let a potential client know how you are different than establishing your unique selling proposition and your guarantee, who you are and why you are different. It kills me when I audit a client only to find out there's nothing in their marketing or branding that lets potential patients know why they are the obvious choice. This is what step 2 is all about. When this is done right, you create no price competition. Too often, practices buy the same website from a dental industry vendor with the same content and the same look as your competition, which offers no benefit to the consumer, who's left making a choice based on what? Price or location, instead on who's the best choice for them and their family. This leads us to finding our differentiating factor. Also, one that's truly unique. Not just say we provide great service or we love our patients. Everybody does that. You need to test several basic headlines or offers. Measure it, which works best. Turn it into a single line or phrase that can be used in all future marketing. Again, test it over and over again. It also goes as far as establishing your guarantees. Think about what patients' key frustrations are. Example, maybe a dentist who doesn't run on time. You could set up your own rules of the guarantee and make sure you deliver on it. You could even make multiple guarantee, like a 5-point patient promise. As always, test and measure this. We live in an analytic world. As you develop these ideas, you always need to keep this in mind. Don't wait 3 or 6 months to see if an idea is working or not.
That's a good point, especially when we equate these campaigns to real numbers. Take a look at this chart of numbers. Everybody wants more clients. Everybody expects more revenue, and everybody anticipates more profits. However, to get more clients, you need to have more leads. And when you have the leads, you need to convert more of them. That's a formula for clients. And once you have clients, you need them to come back and buy again. That's the number of transactions. When they come back, you need them to spend more each time, and that's your average dollar sale. So clients times number of times they buy times the average dollar sale is equal to our revenue. And nobody's in business just for revenue. So the revenue, how do we increase our margins, gives us what our profits are. Now look at this. See if we put in just a 10%, a small increase in each of those 5 areas. Increasing leads 10%, maybe 10% more marketing. What's your proactive referral program? Conversion rate. The best way to increase that 10% is measure it. How many people know what their conversion rate is? And that's really basically your sales process. Number of transactions. Are you keeping in touch with your past customers? Do all your customers know all the products and services you provide? How about asking them to come back? And when they come back, is how do you increase how much they spend, which is the average dollar sale. How about a checklist? Mr. Customer, by the way, people who bought that have also bought X, Y, and Z. Amazon does a great job with this. And then that's going to give us our formula for revenue. Clients, how often they buy, times how much they spend. That equals revenue. And no one's in business just to make revenue. We want to make profits. So how do we increase our margins just 10%? By making small changes and improvements and strategies in each of those 5 areas, the results are 47% increase in revenue and a massive 61% increase in your profits. It's not a trick. It's just by focusing on small things and doing them correctly. I mean, what would you do with an extra $30,525? Did you buy a new car? How about a room with a view? Let's take it a little further. What would happen if you had 10% increase over the next 5 years in each of those areas, just for the fun of it? So if you go from an increase in profits of $30,000 to an amazing $500,000 just by making small changes every year. What would you do in an extra 300 hours every year? Lots of our clients just want to spend more time with important people in their life.
Advantage. This is the third of the 7 steps. This is where systems are implemented at all levels of the company. Our definition of advantage is finding ways to do more with less. It's about finding ways to take advantage of the routines. In our experience, we have found 80% of typical companies' operations are routine at some level. Systematizing the 80% frees up resources, mainly the owner's time, toward more productive functions. At the advantage level, you want to create a vision and mission statement for the business, while helping implement SMART goals, organizational structure, key performance indicators, how-to systems, management systems, and analyze your people. These numbers help guide operations and check progress toward company objectives.
That alone is an eye-opening step and rarely done in any business. From there we get into step 4, team, as we structure for growth. Tom Peters, an expert on business management practices, best known for the book In Search of Excellence, has a great quote. Most employees are motivated, energetic, committed, enthusiastic, and loyal, except for the 8 hours a day they work for you.
Exactly. In this step, the focus is establishing the keys to a winning team. Strong leadership, common goals, rules, the plan, support risk-taking, 100% involvement and inclusion, communication. Winning teams know how to get the right people on the bus. Team members need to know that they matter. I often refer to the late Stephen Covey. For those of you who don't know him, he's an American author, educator, businessman, and speaker. His most popular book you might be familiar with is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In his book, The 8th Habit, which I highly recommend, he wrote about the results of a Harris poll, which included 23,000 U.S. residents employed full-time. The poll found only 37% of those polled said that they had clear understanding of what their organization is trying to achieve and why. 1 in 5 was enthusiastic about their team and the organizational goals. 1 in 5 workers said they had a clear line of sight between the tasks and their organizational goals. Only half were satisfied with the work that they had accomplished at the end of the week. 15% felt the organization fully enables them to execute key goals. 15% felt that they worked in a highly trusted environment. Only 17% felt the organizational fosters communication and better ideas. Only 10% felt that their organization holds people accountable for results. 20% fully trusted the organization they worked for. And only 13% have high trust, high cooperative working relationships with other groups or departments within the organization. Covey goes on to equate these results with a soccer team by describing the team as only having 4 of the 11 players on the field knowing which goal is theirs. Only 2 of the 11 would care. Only 2 of the 11 would know what position they played and exactly what they're supposed to do. But all the players would be in some way competing against their own team rather than the opponent. We find this in our own offices all too often. Think about your office or practice for a second, and how would establishing processes in the following areas really help to make things easier? The new patient process, periodontal maintenance, new hires, emergency patients, financing, big cases, phone answering, morning meetings, and handling dental insurances. By establishing processes, it makes life easier. Think about McDonald's. Who runs the local McDonald's? The CEO? No. They have a set of processes for every step, from opening to closing the store.
Now, pick out something from the previous list and explain how a process can or has made it easier for your practice. Something that will take the stress off you so you can focus more on the business-related items.
I have a quick example about systematizing a process. Back a few years ago, I noticed a client of mine was getting a lot of calls on pay-per-click for emergency dentists. When we looked at the numbers in Dentrix, we found that they were getting zero income from that. I first thought it might have been they were keying it wrong or tracking it wrong, something on the front end. But as we dove deeper into it, what we found was the emergency phone wasn't being brought home. They weren't answering it. If they did answer, it was the next business day. It was a complete mess. They were winging it as kind of when they got on the phone with the person. The short of the lesson is that we established a process for the emergency phone, and we also gave an incentive to people to bring home the phone, not the doctor. What we found was it turned out to be a gold mine. We were getting new patients calling after hours. We added between, I don't know, it was like somewhere between 8 and 10 new patients a month just from bringing the phone home, and it worked out to be great. The best part is it became part of their brand. While other offices weren't answering the phone, they were known for taking calls. This is how a process should work. It takes the chaos and then controls it.
Which is a good segue into step 6, results. When you know your numbers and are tracking your marketing, your systems are in place, and you have a great team, this is when you get results because you are spending more time on the business and growing it. This is where the synergy starts. How we define synergy is the cooperation of 2 or more organizations to produce a combined effect greater than the sum of their separate effects.
Jim Rohn, an entrepreneur, author, and one of the forefathers of today's motivational speakers, has 2 great quotes. Never wish your life were easier. Wish you were better. And work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Jim has some real powerful stuff, and I recommend his books and MP3s all the time to my clients. Wrapping up the 7 steps is the last and final step, coaching. That's the unfair advantage that the Fortune 500 have that most small to medium-sized businesses miss out on. Too often, we see businesses go up against corporate machines without the proper tools. Companies like Heartland and Aspen and Pacific Dental, just to name a few. They have deep pockets and a group of lawyers, corporate managers, accountants, and marketers all gunning for your business. Before going any further, let's just define what a coach is.
Coaching is a business apprenticeship. In other words, it's getting your MBA on your own business. This is where you grow your existing business so that more than pays for the investment in the coaching. You do it in a customized business education, and you get to keep it forever and use it over and over again. This gives you an unfair advantage to all your competitors, especially the bigger companies which take so long to make changes in. You can do it right away.
The big companies are vulnerable on many fronts. The simple fact that they're big makes it harder for them to adjust to local markets, as well as branding. By working with a business coach, you'll learn how to generate more cash flow, more profit, more teamwork, more free time, and more strategies for growth. You will worry less as we focus you in on the important portions of your business that matter. This interactive process will help you improve and learn as well as take your performance to the next level.
I can guarantee if you put in the time and effort that 12 months from today you will arrive. The real question is, where? Quoting billionaire Sir Richard Branson, owner of Virgin Group, who controls over 400 companies, if you can learn to run one business successfully, then there's no reason you can't run any number of businesses at the same time. The principles are still the same.
After this call, you really have 2 directions you could go in. You could continue what you've been doing up until now and ignore the advice, or you could act upon this information and start putting the 7 steps into your business. For practice owners committed to growing their business, we set aside some time for a complimentary practice assessment. This will show you where you need to focus your attention. Part of the assessment is to help you put a plan together. Our goal is to offer a 60-minute call to establish a plan to help you grow your office.
That's the first step in getting your hands around the issues and growing your practice and dominating the marketplace. Follow the link on the screen.
We do have some guidelines for this complimentary process as we only take a limited amount of practices into the program. First, you need to be good at what you do. We can't make you clinically better. 2, you can't give up easy. And 3, you need to be 100% ethical. Lastly, you need to make the appointment. That's the first step in getting your hands around the issues and growing your practice and dominating your marketplace. Follow the link you see on the screen, and that will give you all the information you need to set up the free assessment. Oh yeah, the catch. There is none. For the past 15 years, Tom and I have been helping businesses in this manner. We also know that once we've gotten you on the phone and we've talked for about an hour and come up with a plan to grow your business, you may need some help to execute the plan. And if you do, then great, we can discuss it. If we are a good fit for each other, we could talk about it. If for any reason we're not a good fit or you don't want to discuss it, we'll just get off the phone as friends and go our separate ways. No hard feelings.
Please follow that link on the screen. The link will take you to the calendar where you will see the available appointment times. And understand, we make only a limited amount of these consults available per month. They're first come, first served basis. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to helping you get to that next level.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us. If you do opt in for the practice assessment, I promise you this. It'll be the best 60 minutes that you've spent working on your business in a long time. There's no high-pressure sales pitch. So please, get that right out of your mind. We're very selective who we work with. We don't work with the same office in the same zip code or within 10 miles of our client without getting our client's permission. It's just an integrity thing to me. We don't even make an offer to most people we talk to. So don't worry about that. Just click on the link. We look forward to getting the strategy session on the books and making this happen for you. Thanks very much for joining us.